Jeff and Jeremy.
I sometimes feel like where we live and the Pacific Northwest are in a competition, an arms race to see who could be more green. Like we ban plastic bags, then they ban plastic bags, but then they double down on the plastic bags and they're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to raise minimum wage to 15 and get this. We're getting rid of straws, bitches. What you got, San Luis Obispo? And then San Luis Obispo is like, what's Seattle doing up there? Well, we're going to get rid of straws too and styrofoam containers.
I was in Arizona.
It's a pissing match.
Arizona hates every liberal. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, you're banning straws. We're bringing more in. I had a paper straw for the first time, and it was fine for about 5 minutes, and then it started bending and falling apart.
Paper straws are worthless.
And I'm like, this is Arizona, damn it! Everybody's carrying a gun in this place, yet I have to drink out of a paper straw. I couldn't believe it. This paper straw thing is catching on, even in Arizona.
The latest, I don't know. You know what? I say let Washington win now. San Luis Obispo, the Central Coast, just give them the green title, okay? Because I don't want this going on in my backyard.
How pathetic can some people be?
So I'm from Seattle. I don't know if you've been out there. Everybody thinks it's depressing living there because it rains all the time. And it does rain a lot, but it is depressing. However, we have the lowest murder rate in the country because people tend to kill themselves. So there you go. We're just more of a do-it-yourself kind of folk. Some guy runs into a bank with a gun. Oh, my God, he's got a gun. Help him. I read about a guy in Michigan this winter who was cruising along in a snowmobile. Woohoo! Didn't see a barbed wire fence. Ooh. Cut his head right off. And I'll be honest with you, my first thought was, that's how I want to go. Having the time of your life. Woohoo! I want the last thought in my head to be, hey, check out that headless snowmobile driver.
Dumbass of the day. 93.3 KZOZ.
All right. Washington has gone too friggin' far. I mean, it is crazy. They're now on the verge of becoming the first state to allow the environmentally friendly practice of human composting. This means when you die, you will be composted.
Well, I mean, now that doesn't sound that bad, right? Because they already burn you to cremate you. Yeah.
So now dead bodies will be turned into soil within weeks. The state legislature passed a bill that would legalize the burial alternative, also known as natural organic reduction. Jay Inslee is the governor of that great state. He's ultimately going to decide the fate of this.
Wait, can you back up? I'm sorry. Do they just bury you whole state? They don't cremate you first? Is that what they're saying?
You return to the earth. You become a natural organic reduction. It's not, they don't burn you and then just dump your ashes.
Yeah, that would make sense.
No, not the case. You actually are going to contribute to the soil enrichment of the Pacific Northwest.
The organic compound, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, like maggots are going to have their time with you.
Sure.
Potato bugs going to have their, or roly-polies, I guess, up there, are going to have their time with you.
Wow. Okay.
The spokesman for the governor says that while the governor is still reviewing the bill, the idea seems like a thoughtful effort to soften our carbon footprint on the earth.
Oh, because you're not burning bodies.
The process is believed to transform a person's remain into 2 wheelbarrows full of soil in just 4 to 7 weeks. So you want to know what you're worth? You're worth about 2 wheelbarrows worth of soil in 4 to 7 weeks.
Well, okay. But what about your bones? They don't just, they'll be around for hundreds of years.
I think that turns into soil, too.
No, we find skeletal remains all the time.
Beats me. If signed by the governor, the law will take effect on May 1st of 2020. And it's not clear yet how much the process actually costs, if it's a cost-effective alternative to cremation or burial.
Do you want to have your remains scattered somewhere?
No.
Do you care what happens to you?
Mm-mm.
I always thought I wanted to be at this place that I go on my vacation this summer, at a place you've been where we camp. I always thought that'd be the best final resting place. But I'll be ashes, I'm not going to know any different.
Yeah, if you compost yourself, you could be a tree. You could be...
Well, I don't think they're just going to let people go out there and dig a hole and throw me in it.
Well, who knows? They're going to use you as soil. You're going to be reused as soil once you're composted.
Right.
So, who knows what that means?
Would it
for
be too much for me
the
to
enrichment.
ask you as a friend to go with my wife with my 2 wheelbarrows of soil after I'm composted and ship that up there and then go spread me in that spot at Pine Bower on the Snake River in Hell's
because
Canyon?
I don't think they allow for that.
Well, don't tell anybody. Just say, "Oh no, it's just I'm doing some potting. I'm doing."
When
some
I
planting."
lived in Washington, you couldn't take an apple from one part of the county to the other. They had something called an apple maggot quarantine.
Yeah.
Now they're just dead, laying bodies down on the soil so they could compost.
Well, I know coming into California, they want to inspect your fruit and produce and things, but leaving, I don't remember a check station in Oregon or
God
Washington.
forbid you take your apple to Kent. But you want to leave the body there to just decompose however you want?
I don't feel so. This is kind of making me
I
nauseous.
know. It's
kinda
weird and gross. That's why you shouldn't do it, Washington. Stop trying to be so environmental. The rest of the world's laughing at you.
It's
really
a little
are.
ridiculous. It really is. Just stick to, making beer, growing some grapes because you do a pretty good job with wine.
And the weird thing about Washingtonians, me being somewhat of one, is they'll once this becomes a law, they will stand by their guns on it. They'll be like, "Oh no, it's the best thing. You guys are doing it wrong. You guys are doing it wrong with your burials and your cremations. That's just horrible for the environment." They'll shame you.
One of my favorite things was they used to have a state-ran liquor store. You can only buy liquor at a state-ran store. Well, they got it passed so that you could buy it now in a grocery store, Costco, things like that. But the tax makes, like, the vodka here that we pay $20 for, it's $40 there because of the tax.
Yeah.
Total backfire. This will backfire on them, just like everything else.
Oh yeah,
does.
when every mobster in the country's like, "Oh, just take the body to Washington." They don't care. We don't even need to outfit cement shoes anymore.
Oh, that's too great. All that wet ground in Western Washington, that's where all these great thinkers are, by the way.
Why do you think the Green River Killer went so long without getting caught? He actually ended up turning himself in. He was like, "God, you guys can't even find me because I'm just composting everything."
Subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy podcast now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. It's your Central Coast commute-friendly podcast.